What's up guys, welcome back to Nick's Fishing. Count of the days popping up on the screen right over there. Now today's video we're going to be showing you some tips that you're almost guaranteed to catch more bass in the winter with. Oh dang it, I just realized I was wearing my good tennis shoes. Okay guys, so today's video I'm going to be talking about winter fishing, specifically how you can catch a lot more fish in the tough conditions. Okay, so it's winter, right? Everything's getting cold, super windy as I'm sure you can hear right now. So the bass are going to be a little bit more finicky than they are usually throughout the whole year. So first I'm going to talk about the places they're going to be. So you can target bass in two places during winter. One's going to be just out deep, out in the middle. Fish are going to be sitting right on the bottom, not very active at all. I'll tell you how to catch them like that in a second. And then the other place, they're going to be out close to the bank, super tight to cover. Okay, so let's talk about fishing out deep for a little bit. So when the bass are out deep, one of my favorite rigs is a Ned rig. So here it is right here, just like a mini Senko. I made a video about this not too far back. And so how you're going to want to catch these fish is if you're out on a boat, john boat, kayak, anything out in the middle, you can just cast out on the bottom, work it super slow. I'll give you a little example from the bank. It's not going to be the exact same. Alright, so you're just going to want to be casted way out in the middle. And what you're going to want to do is just barely be hopping it. Just as you can see, my rod tip's barely even moving at all. And that, the Ned rig, that's enough action for the bait. That's all you want to do. Just be hopping along the bottom just like that. And usually if you come across a fish or two, whenever it gets in front of their face, they'll just kind of tick, 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 and then you'll kind of feel them run off with it. That's when you'll set the hook. So that's the first way you can fish a Ned rig in the winter. Now another way to fish the Ned rig is up tight to cover. So what you're going to want to do is get a good bit of line out, open the bell like this, and you're just going to want to find your structure in the water. Like say there's like a little log right there. You're going to come up, hitch right to it, and let it sink all the way to the bottom. That's very key. You gotta let it sink to the bottom if you're gonna hop it along the bottom. Okay, so you're right beside the structure. Just once again, barely dragging it through there like that. But you can also experiment. If they're a little bit more active today, you can hop like that. Hop, reel, then let it sink. Something like that. You just gotta kind of experiment and see what the fish are doing. It kind of depends each day. So those are really the main two ways I would be fishing a Ned rig in the winter. Just dragging it or hopping it out deep or close to cover, and that'll get you a lot more bites than like just saying like throwing a spinnerbait or a crankbait whenever they're not super active. Okay, now the next rig I'm going to be talking about is a Texas rig Senko. You can also wacky rig it, just a Senko in general. So this, I wouldn't use this as much for fishing out deep because it sinks super slow. This is going to be your perfect fishing around cover around the bank lure. So what you want to do, the key is to fish super slow. Okay, so once again, just say there's a piece of structure there. You're going to cast out and let the lure do the work for you. It's a Senko. All you have to do is watch it barely sink down, because what it's going to do is it's going to just kind of float and shake on the way down, and if it comes across a fish, they cannot resist it. It's that super slow sinking action. And then what you're going to want to do is about after 10 seconds or so, it's probably on the bottom if you're in shallow water like in a pond, just like barely pop your rod like that, then let it sink again. The key, like I said, is to fish super slow. This can be one of the most effective wintertime baits, especially around cover, pitching it in cover, letting it float down right in front of a fish's face. Usually I'm only casting it at the super key spots, and if nothing hits it within like the first 20 seconds, just reel it back in and make another cast. Now this is not the most effective for covering water, but at your key points you just really slow down, pitch it in there, and you can catch a lot more fish like this. It can be very effective for some wintertime bass. Okay, so now I'm going to be talking about color. So in the winter the fish are going to be very subtle and finicky, so you have to be super realistic as your color pattern. So right here, this is a very clear water pond, so I'm keeping it as simple as I possibly can. This is 12-pound mono, so it's like pretty invisible under the water. You can see it in front of me because my black jacket. But then see, I just got a watermelon yum dinger right here. Now these are my favorite Senkos. They're only $2.99. Super natural, awesome action. And I just got it on a 4/0 Texas rig hook. Now a wacky rig sometimes can be better because it floats a little bit better. But this, whenever you're around structure, it's better because you don't get snagged. So this is one super awesome bait in color. Now the Ned rig here is in an awesome color as well. This is like a California crawl color. It's a super natural presentation. It kind of can imitate like bait fish or a crawfish. Honestly, I see it as just like a little crawfish without the pinchers on the bottom. So it's a very good presentation for bass in the winter. Okay, so those are about all the tips I have for you today. So as I catch a fish, I am going to tell you like how I caught it and what the bass are doing, just to see how well my tips are working for today. Also, it's super windy, so I hope the audio is not too bad, but we should get on some fish, so stay tuned, it's going to be good. Number one. Alright guys, now this is not a big fish at all, but he absolutely choked the Ned rig right there. So all I was doing was I saw some grass in the water, some weeds, and I cast it out there and I was just popping it a little bit faster than I usually would along the bottom, and this one came up and tapped it. And I set the hook and I got him. Number one, he's a little guy, but we should get some bigger ones. Okay guys, that first bass gives me a little bit of information about what they might be doing today. As you can tell, it's windy, as you can probably hear, and it's overcast conditions. So that might mean that the fish are a little bit more active today. Also, he was tight to cover, like I was saying. He was up in some grass, and I was hopping it a little bit faster. So that might be what they're keying in on today, maybe bait fish just kind of scurrying away. So hopefully I can stick to that strategy and catch some more bass. There we go guys, switch spawns and another dink if I've ever seen one. Tiny fish on the Ned rig. This fish is cold. There's the Ned rig. But at this spawn, the water must be cold over here because this fish is freezing. This is a tiny one for this spawn. But anyways, I was casting out there and I was barely moving on the bottom, and I thought I felt a little tick, so I paused it, felt a thump, and set the hook on it and got him. Number one at this spawn, so let's go ahead and get him back. It's very tough today, so just a little slow presentation like a Ned rig might be perfect. That's a fish. Oh, damn. No. That's crazy, guys. It's not bad either. Yeah, that is hilarious. You might have even been able to see it on camera based on the angle. Golly, look at that Ned rig choked in the bottom of the mouth. Okay, so nice little bass right there, biggest one of the day. So what happened was, right over there, somewhere in there, I was casting the Ned rig, barely got it over the grass. I popped it, nothing but it was biting. So I was reeling it up, and I thought as I was reeling it up, I got caught on the grass. So I was pulling to get it off, but it was a fish on there. A very healthy bass right there. Not a bad fish, so we're gonna go ahead and get him back in the water. That's number 3, but we might actually be able to make a video today. I was getting very worried. Another one, guys. Another tip for winter fishing is bass aren't afraid to school up, because I've caught 3 little bass all in the same general area, all on a Ned rig. So what I think they're doing is, because I've seen a little bit, I think they're busting on like smaller minnows and stuff. There he is, just another tiny guy. And I cannot get any to hit the Senko, so I think they're just on that smaller presentation. Hopefully I can get a couple more right over here in this corner. Okay guys, thank you for watching this week's episode of Nick's Fishing. Now I know I didn't catch that many fish, but hopefully you did learn something from the tips I taught you. I mean, I only caught like 4 fish today and it was tough, but I can guarantee you if I wasn't using these tips, if I was trying to use a fast moving bait, probably wouldn't have even got a bite. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, hopefully you learned something. If you did, don't forget to drop a like, and if you're not already, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in next week's video. Bye.